But yes, so let's get this music started here. Alrighty, so yeah, we're not going to have anybody in the chat tonight, and that is fine. What I wanted to do is just come on here and talk because I like to talk, and I've got this new podcasting machine with this cute little microphone. So and the podcast machine is pink. Let me see if I can pull it up and show it without ruining everything. It's just this tiny machine. It's cute. Oh no, what did I hit? Oh, effects. Okay, so we're going to change the effect of the microphone. Original. So this is the original tone of the microphone. We're going to drop into Pro. So this is the Pro sound. And I do kind of like the Pro sound a little bit more. It does sound pretty good. Let's see what the gunshot. Okay, so gunshots. We're going to drop into. I didn't hear what that one is. I like this one a little bit better though, because it's got a little bit of an echo, and I don't even have the echo up. So if I turn the echo, that sounds really cool, y'all. Really cool. Oh my goodness, I am so happy that I found this little machine. It is amazing. 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 So let me change the microphone one more time. MC. Wiki, 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 chicka, 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 chicka. So yeah, MC. Oh, yeah, baby. 1, 2 on the wheels of steel. Check it. My name is Froggy in the Wheels of Steel. Rex in effect. That's how we do it for real. Awkward. I'll still never get over the fact that the awkward sound is actually a crow. Like, why? Why? Can someone tell me why? Please. So instead of that, we'll go to the applause. The applause is for me because I am the only one in this live. And so I can look at myself. I can do things like this. I can talk like this. I can try and work on my voice right now. So, yeah, this is the podcast machine. And the reason, the reason for actually coming on live today is because the, excuse me, the disturbing news coming out of Portugal. So for years, let's try and go right here. Yes. So for years, yeah, let's try it again. For years, Portugal has been a model country, a country which I thought the United States could aspire to. In terms of its drugs policy, in terms of its policy, in terms of letting expats live there. It was a good place to go. And then, and it was a good place to go for trans people too. It was safe. I know of people who have moved there and are there currently. So this is where this becomes a problem. The problem is that on Aaron in the Morning today, if you don't know Erin Reed, she is an independent reporter and journalist, and writes for her publication, Erin in the Morning, which you can find on Substack here. And if you don't subscribe to her, please do, or to the publication, please do. It is important in terms of trans and queer journalism and independent journalism. Okay, that is my plug. You know what? It's such a shame. I just plugged Aaron Reed's Aaron in the Morning site, and nobody's around to hear it. Drat. But when the clips come, then you'll be able to hear it. So let me then go ahead. Give me just a moment. Okay, I'm back. Since nobody is in this chat, I'm gonna go ahead and do the thing that I do, and that is, throw some respect on people I know who have done the things that I want to do but haven't done yet. One of those people is Rose, the bathrobe guy. Um, a lot of you know him. He is a great writer, a very peaceful guy, a great writer, a funny guy. A guy who, like me, has a lot of bills that are hard to meet on the disability that at least on the disability that I get. I don't know that Robes gets disability. But the thing about Robes is he wrote a book. And I respect that. That's something that I definitely want to do is I want to write a book. So, here's to Robes, the bathrobe guy. The name of the book is right here, A Robe Full of Poems. Thoughts from the Mesh. So yes, you can pick up this book from Amazon.com. Just look for Robes or the Bathrobes guy, and look for A Robe Full of Poems. Like, really, it just comes up. It's not super expensive. I haven't really had a chance to dive into it yet, but having read his poetry on Substack, I can go ahead and tell you that it is going to be good, and I'll be able to get into this stuff. I do love a good book of poetry and a good work of poetry. So yes, again for Robes. Okay, so back to what we were talking about. Let me make sure my titties aren't out and shit. So back what we were talking about. Portuguese, Portugal for so long had this, for me, this idea of an ideal place to live. And partly because I was a druggie, but also because I believe 100% in legalize. Hey, Lisa, thanks for popping in. 100% I believe in legalizing all drugs across the board. And like Portugal did. Now, Portugal did not legalize all drugs, but they did decriminalize all drugs. And that within a generation or within 10 years, something like that, they saw their population of addicts drop a bit. I know it's your night off. Yeah, that's why I'm glad you're here. Thank you for stopping in on your night off. You're the only person in here, by the way. It's just me and you, so I've been just talking for like 11 minutes. But now I'm talking about Portugal and how Portugal used to be this upright place, this idea for how America could operate in terms of decriminalizing all drugs or legalizing all drugs, allowing addicts to have their drugs, have safe places, to have safe needle exchanges, have self-harm places, harm reduction places, not self-harm places, but harm reduction places, have lessons, teach about the problems with addiction, but also don't just throw addicts out on the street. Like, let's not do that. Addicts are people too. Addicts just have problems. They have an addiction, so we have to be mindful of that. But so Portugal was this stand-up community. They accepted gay people, like the whole queer community. They were very liberal. They accepted expats, people from different countries. Um, Addiction is a disease of despair. Yes, housing should be a human right. You're 100% housing, food, um, housing, food, and healthcare. Of course, that should be without a doubt. Everybody should have that before anybody gets seconds. That's just the way it should be. But so what came out today on Portugal through Aaron in the morning, and Aaron Reed is of course the independent trans journalist and reporter who throws out good stuff. So if Aaron, Lisa, if you don't read Aaron in the morning, go ahead and subscribe. But today it came out that the Portuguese Parliament is advancing sweeping anti-trans bills, borrowing from the American far right. So part of these bills, there are three of them, and of course, it would be prohibiting gender ideology discussion in school for anyone under 18. Um, and this of course is a provision that mine that like kind of mirrors it goes like saying like the don't say gay in school type of thing, law sweeping America red states. So let's see what Aaron says, that if enacted, the legislation would revert the country back to a 2011 era framework that treated trans people as, or treated being trans as a disorder, uh, with intensive clinical steps that you need to take in order to get your transition started. Um, so it's what's happening is that far right or conservative movements, and basically the far right fascist movements, are sweeping across the world. It's not just the United States; it's everywhere, and it's coming quickly, and it's focusing right now on trans rights. It's worldwide. So, yay! Yeah, yeah, I love the topless protests in Britain too. That was excellent and still is excellent. But so, like there's a bill in Portugal, like I guess Chega is how you say it, the country's far right property or party. I'm sorry, that would ban all gender affirming care for trans youth. Um, this is, so Portugal, which me and Egg talked about, like if we had to flee the United States, Portugal was one of the places we were going to go. And now Portugal is not one of those places we were going to go. Like, Africa, wish we could go to Africa. I've never been to Africa. Like, my Baba was like, why don't you come to Nigeria? And I was like, Baba, you just don't understand. I would get killed in Nigeria, especially, yeah, I would just get killed in Nigeria. So I can't visit the place where I need to be. In terms of my spirituality, I can't go to now. That is not to say that I can't go anywhere in Africa, because there are 54 countries in Africa, and about 10 to 12 of them are friendly for queer people. Now, I don't know what stripe of queer people. Well, yeah, so Canada is supposedly safe. I do know this. Yeah, so Canada is supposedly safe. The problem is once you get into Canada, you can't come back. Yeah, and that's the problem with everything. Once you get out, it's going to be hard to come back in. Um, I do know people who travel the world, though. I have a friend in the A who flies in and out all the time. It's her job, and she's trans, and she's had no problem, and she's visibly trans. It's not like she is what we would consider passing, and that's a disgusting word anyway. But it's not like that's what we would consider. It is more that she is clocky, and clocky is not a bad word. It just means that you can tell she's trans. Her voice does not sound like she's trans, but you can tell she's trans, and that's okay. My point is that she's been able to fly in and out of the United States without a problem. So maybe it's just not there just yet. So I was trying to think of places in Europe to go. I've been to Europe before, and while it was nice, there's some built-in racism. Yeah, you can't afford to leave, Lisa. Neither can I, and that's the problem. Yeah, I can't. I'm disabled. I'm fat. And I'm queer. I'm non-binary. I'm pan. I'm omni. I like all people except for cis hetero men for the most part. So anybody else come to me, but like cis hetero men, y'all need to step back. So and I'm always, yeah. What omni? So omnisexual is one that is relatively new for me as well. Yeah, Italy. Yes, Italy is super racist. Super racist. As a matter of fact, I know people who have been to Italy and said they have been openly mocked and called monkey as they were walking down the street. Yeah, it's too bad because I always wanted to go to Italy. I had this idyllic idea of Italy when I was younger, and oh, the clocking word. What's that? Let's see. I can't. Yes, sadly, you would right now. Can't. You just learned about the clocking word. Yeah. So, clock. Yeah. When you clock someone, that is, that you can tell they're trans. Another word for that is bricking. Like if they brick, you can, that just means that they're trans and you can tell. Like words that mean things like trans women are passing would be like fish, she's like fish. What's up, Kayleen? Thanks for coming in again. I don't know if you've been here 3 times today or twice. This is my 3rd time going live today. So I have this podcast machine. Hold on, let me just hit the applause button. Wow. Well, that's Benito Mussolini. So, like he got what he got. I hope he had the best day of his life then. But yeah, Italy is super racist. The whole Eastern Bloc is, not safe at all. Western Europe is okay. Like Germany is okay. Now, I don't know how Germany is now, but back when I went, Germany was actually kind of cool. It was the cleanest of the countries I had been to, and the people were actually nice, with the exception of the little village, as my ex-girlfriend would call it, below Stuttgart, that she lived in. There were racist and Hitler people there, which is kind of crazy, but it's not really all that crazy. These people who supported Hitler are not dead, not all of them. They might be getting close to it, but not all of them. And certainly it was passed down from generation to generation. So my ex-girlfriend, however, was not like that. She's a beautiful soul, and like absolutely one of the most beautiful people I've ever seen, and one of my best loves. And of course, Egg knows about her, so there's no jealousy there. Her name, my mama called her Barbarella. But her name is not Barbarella. She's got a nice German name. Let's see, like official, he was assassinated. Too bad we don't have vid of that. Like Hitler, yeah, they have a rising fascist movement too. Through East Germany, yeah, East Germany is problematic. Always has been. Tends to be the one that struggle with it most. Yeah. So in terms of Europe, I'm looking for a place where Black trans people and interracial relationships with queer white women can live safely. And that is really the parameter that I'm setting. So, when I look at Portugal now, that's out. The excuse me, Alsace Lorraine. Yeah. I looked at France. Is Alsace Lorraine in France and Switzerland? Or is that where that is? Like where the area used to be, France and Switzerland? I don't know. But France, we're thinking, France is one of those that has a lot of black people, a lot of African people, I should say. A lot of, so yeah, black, but not African, not American, like black American. We're talking about black African. And that's a different subject. Like they treat black African people different than black American people. Um, so, I've been to France and they treated me fine until I got to this city called Orleans, and they were pretty racist there. I almost got beat the fuck up there. I trusted someone that I probably should not have. I did some things that I probably should not have. And yeah, so. Part of it is German, okay, or became German for a while. Okay, yeah. Yes, 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 because they had African colonies. And so, keeping on that note, we're talking about Belgium. I was looking at Belgium, but Belgium, like, I know people from Belgium, and they're like, nah, you don't want to live in Belgium. Like, it's okay to visit, but Belgium is pretty insular. Like, they don't like outsiders for the most part. And yeah, I've got friends from Belgium, who've lived in Belgium all their life, and this is what they say. Um, 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 Les Marbles. I don't know that word. There is some anti-Muslim sentiment in some of the places in France. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, okay, Lisa, yes, 100%. 100% the Netherlands. That's where I was going with this. So that's exactly where I was going. The Netherlands is the next best country, is actually the best country. Excuse me. Okay. So yeah, the Netherlands is the best country, and I actually have it pulled up here. Oh no, it's not there. Where is it? The Netherlands. So it says the Netherlands is generally safe and accepting and progressive for Black trans people with white wives, often ranking highly for queer rights and providing legal recognition for trans individuals. While it is a liberal country with strong anti discrimination laws, some individuals report a preference for tolerance over deep acceptance and systemic changes regarding gender affirming care. Wait times, racism, colorblind attitudes may exist. So, I've been to Amsterdam, I've been to the Netherlands. The area for me to stay in would be, I think it's called the Ronstadt area. Rondom. Let me see if I can find it again. Oh God, I don't remember the name of it. It's the area. It's the Benelux area. I mean, it's the area that includes Amsterdam, Utrecht, and one other place. But Utrecht is where I stayed. And when I was in Netherlands, I stayed in Utrecht, and that place is beautiful. It's comfortable. It's almost like it's almost like a suburb type of thing, but it's more than that. The university there is stunning. The architecture is stunning. The vibe is peaceful. It's a lot different than Amsterdam, where Amsterdam is everything going, 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 going. Utrecht is a little bit slower, and a little bit more a peaceful vibe. looked up the spelling, haven't read or written French in 3 decades. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like my French is kind of, is pretty bad. I do speak French with my bestie because she lived in France for a long time. Utrecht. Yeah. Big art company there. Yes. 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 I had a really good friend who lived in Utrecht. So I stayed with him for about a month. And we did the things that you would do in the Netherlands. Since he is native there, he took me to the real red light district, not the ones that the tourists see. But I got the experience of the real red light district. And we did the things like stealing bicycles and riding around town because honestly, that's what people do. That I don't know if they do that anymore, but honestly, back then, what you did was just take a bike. It didn't matter whose bike. You take a bike because there were so many bikes, and that's what people did. They rode bikes. So people would just take each other's bikes, and it was not a big deal. Um, like, unfortunately, while I was in Amsterdam, I didn't do any of the cool shit. Like, I didn't like go to the Van Gogh museum, Van Gogh. I didn't go see the Anne Frank house. I didn't go see the Rijksmuseum. Excuse me. So the next time I go to Amsterdam, I'm going to do all of that. What I did see were all the coffee shops, all the coffee shops, and then just wandered around town, the red light district, of course, and some other stuff. Um, Have you, Lisa? I'm sure you would have. Like, I see your chickens. I know you've got some art ability. I know you do. It would not surprise me if you are a great artist. It really wouldn't. So, let that shit out. Let's see some stuff. Um, but yeah, so Amsterdam, not Amsterdam, but Utrecht really seems like a good place right now. The only problem is going to be the medical side of it. I have a lot of medical issues. I have bipolar disorder, Crohn's disease, and then of course I've got the anxiety, panic attacks, all of that goes along with it. I take a lot of medication, and I don't know how quickly I can get that medication there, or what I can get prescribed. And then there's the issue of gender affirming care. I understand that in the Netherlands, there is a wait. It takes a while. I think in the Netherlands, there is, I don't even know if there's like a surgeon in the Netherlands that does like gender, like bottom surgery. I don't know. I think you have to go to Belgium. I don't know. Um, yeah, so the health stuff is a problem. I'm on disability. I know you are too, Lisa. Yeah, I'm on disability. It does not help. Like, disability is made to keep people poor. It really is. Like, I cannot live on disability. If Egg did not make the money she made, I would be on the street, and that is an honest truth. Um, Liver and kidney stuff now. I am down to less than 5%. Yeah. Ugh, that's good. I mean, honestly, I'm taking probably I'm to go just to get 5 hours of sleep. I take Zolpidem 12.5, which is an extended release. I take 1 milligram of Clonopin. I take 7.5 of mirtazapine, and of course, I take my progesterone at night, which people say is supposed to make you sleep, but I'm only getting 5 hours of sleep, and that's crazy. Oh, but that's like another state there. Oh, wow. Yeah. So I'm not too familiar with where you live, Lisa. I know that I've passed through, like, I've been to Branson. I don't know if that's anywhere near you. I don't know exactly where you live, but I've been to Branson, Missouri. And while I would probably never go again, it was fun while I was there. Yeah. Branson is woo. We went there for a family reunion, and it was a fucking trip. Yeah, come on in. Let me invite you. How do I do this? Let's see. Add guest. Okay. Um, let's see. There you go. Alrighty. Now I'm just waiting for you to pop in. There you go.
I'm
Hey.
sorry. It's just I'm like, my goodness, it's just the two of us.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
makes
But
it
you know
makes
what?
it easier.
There's actually someone else in here.
Yeah. Well, you can actually invite them if they want to talk too.
Yeah, I don't know who it is. I have no idea
Isn't it the
who it
person
is.
that just came? That you
I
said
I
hi
don't
to that
know.
came back?
Uh, oh, yes. Let's see. Let me go back. Yeah, let me just go
Yeah,
back
one
through the
person just came back.
chat.
Um,
Um, she's not talking right now, though.
Man, my hair is
Kayleen. Hey,
still wet.
Kayleen, do you want to join the chat
It
too? There's
Bill
only
just
th
came
oh, there's
too.
somebody
Hi,
else who just
Bill.
joined too. Bill. Hi, Bill. So yeah, like we have Kayleen and Bill in here. Um, but
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
here I will show you.
Oh, what happened? Where'd you go? Hold on, I'm gonna have to invite you again. Okay.
I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button.
Welcome back.
Thank you. There. That was
Oh,
Hank. I don't know if you ever saw pictures of Hank.
no, I haven't. Oh. Did someone draw that?
Those are mine.
Oh, you drew
Yeah.
these.
Yeah.
Oh, you definitely have talent. See, I knew you did. Yeah, that's badass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
They're the easiest to find of my stuff. But yeah. Hi, YRG.
who is this?
Sh
YRD. You're ready, you ready, Grandma?
yeah,
YRD.
she comes into mine sometimes, and
Okay.
she came through way of Neuro D.
Oh, what's up with Neuro D? I haven't seen Neuro D in a while.
Oh yeah, she's doing
They're
really. She's got a
Neuro D
lot of
is.
different things.
Oh, are they? I think
Yeah,
isn't
she's
there?
doing stuff with Jason,
Oh, with
the
Jason
photographer.
Odell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
yeah. They
Now,
apparently have
hold.
a lot of fun.
Is Neuro D non-binary? I think they are.
I'm not.
Um.
I'm not sure. I haven't really
Okay.
gotten into that part. I know that she considers herself ace.
Okay. I
Um,
I I will continue to use they just as a just as a, because I don't know their pronouns.
right.
But I think they are non-binary.
When is it?
That
Is
is
it safe to use they if you don't know, or can that
that
still offend people?
no, that is
Because
exactly
it's
what you
such
do.
a landmine these days.
Yeah, well, and that's what you do. If you don't know their pronouns right off the bat or
Hmm.
right off the rip, you just use they.
Hmm.
And then you wait till someone says she, and then you jump right on in, or
And
you
then you
say,
worry about whether or not the person's misgendering them, though. What if they are a they and they get called a she?
well, this is what you do. You actually ask them directly.
Oh,
I
oh,
don't know you. What are your pronouns? And
right.
I did this. So I did this with Sarah. I was like,
Mhm.
Sarah, and I do this continually with Sarah. I'm like, all right, Sarah, let's just have a pronoun check. What are your pronouns this week?
Yeah,
So
my
yeah,
my position is that I'm not non-binary. As
right,
much as I hate the boxes they put the binary structure entirely in the first place.
right,
Um, as a girl,
right.
without it being said, I was convinced that my dad would have preferred boys because he was male. And because boys get your name and they carry your name out forward, and yeah, girls were worthless. Girls were there to have babies and wait on men,
Yeah, yeah.
and boys did
Unfortunately,
everything
it's true.
else. And
Yeah,
girls were weaker, and girls were this, and girls were that. So I hated being a girl,
yeah.
not because of my body, but because of the
The skin.
structure around my gender.
Yes, understood. 100%. Like if back then, if I, back then, like let's just say 60s, 70s, and I was older and married and I was born a woman, I wouldn't be able to have a credit card. I wouldn't be able to have a house. I wouldn't be able to
Right.
have, my checks would have to have my husband's names on them. So
Mhm.
you're right. You're basically trapped. You
Right.
can't get out. It's a trap. And that's what they're trying to go back to right now.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly what they're trying to go back
It's
to.
it's even part of why they want to get rid of women's right to vote.
Yeah,
Having
yeah.
come from the wonderfully creatively patriarchal society that called it complementarianism because patriarchy became so obviously a bad thing. Oh no, we're not going to. And especially as you as a person of color, they tell women in the church that it isn't that men are above you, it's that you're created as equal but different.
So that's kind of funny. Like you're created as equal, but you're just slightly different.
Your equality means that you have to always obey men. Your equality means
Whew,
that they're like, don't you understand that you get to make the babies and raise the babies, and this is such a wonderful
right. Yeah.
responsibility for you to
Yes.
have.
Oh,
Oh goodness, you don't
yeah.
want to give that up.
So that is rough. That is unfortunate. Because a lot of women get trapped into that system. Now, and that's not to say women who or anybody, people who
Mhm.
want to have kids,
Right.
that's not to say that's a bad thing.
It's not
It's
even to say
just
that being a stay-at-home mom is bad. If that's what you want
not at all.
and you're
Not at
happy
all.
and you're fulfilled and you have the power to. One of the problems that happens, and that they want this to happen, to be honest,
Hey Joe.
is
Hey
that
Lauren.
women get trapped. If you're not making an income and you're raising kids for 10 years,
Right.
you have
Right.
no safety net,
Right.
and the man can dump your butt, take the kids, and leave you high and dry.
Which is, I don't know personally, but I've seen and I've read about men who, in exchange for stay-at-home mothers who raise these men's child and her child and children, will give them money. And it's
Well,
not
that'd be
like
nice.
it's not like a prostitute or anything, or like a sex worker or anything like that. It's like, you are my wife and you are raising my children. I understand that this is a job as well. This is a job. It is, and while it is a job at home, and you get to do all these things at home, it is still a job. It's
Oh
a
yeah.
job of love, but and so as such, you should be compensated.
It's interesting because right now my son moved into me, finances are crazy and everything, and um I was being assured that I have to be more possessive of my stuff. And someone guessed that maybe since I inherited it from my husband, I don't feel like it's allowed to be mine. And I was his full-time caregiver with no help for a year, the last year of his life. Um,
Oof,
my kidneys failed the week before he died because I was pushing myself so hard to be available for everything he needed.
right.
So, yeah, I deserve the house.
Yeah,
I
of
earned that.
course. Of
Even,
course.
I mean, I should have earned it anyhow just by that virtue of being his wife. But I think I worked hard enough to be able to say, no, I deserve this.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not
And,
fair. Other people don't get that out of those things. But,
right.
I deserve to have been taken care of for taking care of him, for sacrificing for him. And
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, and I know part of your backstory. So yeah, for sacrificing what you've always known about yourself, that's
his
rough.
fault is the
What's that?
that wasn't his fault as much as the system. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
That's true.
feel like a
That's true.
prostitute, to be honest. Um, Sex for me has always been about getting a man to leave me alone.
Yeah, yeah. I can understand that.
way to look at sex. It's like, okay, how much do I have to do to get you to stop?
Right.
And
How quickly can we get this over with? Come on, I'm on a timer here. Shit. Like 2
literally,
minutes?
I started timing it even.
Right.
Get a man below 3 minutes because that was my goal, was to get a man happy in 3 minutes or less. Because
There we go. Yeah, yeah.
I like look at the clock before I started and say, okay, I pushed this, slam them all at once, and he's gone. Good, I'm done. You know,
right. You know, the obligation of sex in a marriage or in a relationship is horrible. Like, like there is in our relationship, and when I say our, I'm talking about A because she's in there. But in our relationship, there is no obligation of sex.
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, when we started out in our relationship, we had way too much sex. And as the years go on, we have less sex to the point where we are not a sexual couple, and that is fine. But that's changing again. Like we stopped having sex for a long time, and then now we're back into it. But my point is that couples go in and out of waves, and it's not necessary to have that sex. And when you don't want to, you should be able to say, you know what, I don't want to do this.
I mean,
um
her as somebody who's not really had real dating in any meaningful way in a long, but it struck me way back when it seemed like people preferred to skip into sex quickly rather than taking the time to build an emotional attachment. Because you feel that temporary connection usually getting your own.
right.
And
Okay.
I'm much more of a headspace person, no matter.
So, I it's interesting that so is egg and so am I. It's called demisexuality. I don't know if you've heard of that
I've
term.
heard it. I just haven't absorbed it entirely yet. But
Okay,
to me, it sounds
so
like half sexual.
demi
Almost
there's either
sexual.
demisexuality or demi-romantic. And
Oh,
either of those just means that you need to build a connection before
right.
you're
Oh,
willing
I'm
to have
definitely a
sex. Yeah.
connection.
Yeah. So, and that's, even though I say I'm, pansexual, I'm not going to go just jump into bed with somebody. That's not my style. Never
Right.
has been my style.
Right.
I always need that mental first. I need to connect in energetic form first.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we'll talk about all the other shit later. So sex has never been super important for me. Like, okay, so when I was
Right.
younger, yeah, because, that's what you do when you're
Right,
younger.
Joe.
Um, um, Yes, Joe. Turn my motherfucking brain on. Talk to me about some deep shit. Don't, like, yeah, I can talk about the weather, but after like 5 minutes about the weather, I need to hear about what your soul is feeling, Uh,
And whether or not the Netherlands are a great place to live one day or not.
right.
And
Or Costa Rica, because that is
ooh,
another place
supposed
that
to
a
be
lot
very
of
pretty there.
Yeah, it's very pretty, as my sister would say. It's very pretty. She's been there many times. San Jose is, I think that's what is the capital of Costa Rica, and a lot of trans people from the United States actually
Oh,
move there.
nice.
Yeah, and
I've heard
they have a.
Mexico has safe and not safe places, and it's touchy enough you just don't want to try it.
I am not going to Mexico, but I will go to Costa Rica because they've got a lot of black people. It's a brown country. With some lighter skinned people, but I would feel safe there. The person who made the trans flag that
Mm-hmm.
you can see, you may not be able to see it. Anyway, the person who made the trans flag lived in my city, and I
Mm-hmm.
know her. And she moved to Costa Rica just like 2 months ago. Um, and my first gender therapist moved to Costa Rica.
Oh,
So, and he was
wow. So
trans.
you've got
Yeah,
lots of connections there.
I do. Yeah. So,
Cool.
that is a place that I can go to, that we can go to. Now,
Mhm.
what I'm trying to figure out is where can we go in the United States before we have to flee
Yeah.
the country,
I was reading I don't know if it was on if you came across it or not, but it was on Substack about how a trans family moved to Iowa, and at the time
Oh,
Iowa was actually doing well. In fact, it was one of
oh,
the more promising places, and they were hired for like a trans studies position at a college in a
okay.
progressive college town. Now, one of the things when I moved to where I'm at is I had hoped that being in a college town, maybe there'd be a lot more open LGBTQ stuff around here than there is, because it's also a small agricultural college.
Right.
So still very deep red. But so
Yes.
they took
Yes.
the position, and I knowing the inside and out of academic positions, this is even a harder story in some ways, because they
Okay.
took the position, and now Iowa has banned, um, you know,
Gender
anything
affirming care. Yeah.
for pre, pre 18-year olds, and it's doing all these backwards things, and they're like, okay, right now we're sitting here and trying to figure out how to keep things going, and whether or not we need to move again.
Yep.
And they only moved a couple years ago because the
It's
state they
unfortunate.
were in was bad, and they got this job offer, and they were assured that everything was going the right direction, and now we have this.
It is unfortunate. I've known and personally known people who have moved out of Texas because of this. I've known personally people who have moved out of Florida. I know a
Well, those are
person
two
who's
crazy great places to move out of for
yeah,
sure.
I've known people who've moved out of like all across this country. Where the poet Miranda lives in Colorado. They're trying to introduce bills now. Colorado
Mhm.
is one of those super safe states,
You,
but they're
you you
trying to
know how it's happening, right?
they are going through. Oh, yeah, I don't remember. I read it today or
Okay.
yesterday.
Well, the see, thing is, this there's a reason this is happening everywhere. Okay, there
Right.
are organizations on the Christian right that literally sit there and say, okay, this is how every state does its citizen led stuff. Here's what you do to get it on the ballot. And it send out packets to activists in every state.
Yes, that
It's
makes
it's
sense.
an organized movement. It isn't just that suddenly everyone's gone off the rails. No, there's
No,
somebody
no.
pushing everything off the rails. This is
Well,
intentional.
this has been going on for a long time, and like I said, it's been set up from the bottom up. So
I know.
everything from every single structure, from every single judge, from every single county clerk, all the way up to the top. For years, they've been building that, and Democrats have been sitting on their ass.
Mhm,
We're like, unfortunately, it's like we're in a two-party system for realsies, so we have to
mhm.
vote Democrat because nobody wants Republicans in that shit. But
Correct.
where are the Democrats?
Well,
Like,
the problem is Citizens United. It allowed special interests to buy and rebuy their politicians.
yes,
When you have
yes,
somebody who will pay for your entire campaign,
right,
they have proven that you cannot accept money from somebody and not feel like you owe them something.
right.
Somebody pays you a couple $1,000,000 and gets you a job for 6 years.
Yes,
How
yes,
long are you gonna kiss their butt for? I mean,
right.
it's that there was a reason why we had limitations, and by taking them away and making it so the very wealthiest among us could buy however many. I mean, Elon
Yeah,
Musk tried to buy the president. Well, he bought the presidency. He just
he
didn't get
did
what he
buy the
wanted out of it.
presidency. Yeah.
So he's proven you can buy the highest office in this country now.
Yes, you
It's for
can.
sale.
Yeah,
You just have to
yeah.
have enough money to throw into
You need
supporting
to
the
know the right
candidate.
people and you have to have the right amount of money, and that's
Right.
it. And so yes, I think it's been proven that without a doubt Kamala Harris did actually win the election. I am not 100 on that, so
Well,
I
even if
won't.
she didn't on paper, some of what was done manipulated it so she wouldn't get the votes she needed anyhow. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
and the Democrats, they just that was a clusterfuck from the
it,
beginning.
it was a super clusterfuck.
That
Yeah.
they were not, doing the right
Well,
things
but it
ever.
seems like every term and every election, the Democrats they just let us down at every
I
step.
think
At
it's because
every step.
the same money is paying for their campaigns.
As the other side, So what's it called? APAC, IPAC, the
Hmm.
Asian Pacific,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah. That
So
agreement.
yes,
That's a
that
trade
is
agreement.
the lobby that is paying both sides. People are taking money from this group, and this is where you're talking about, people kissing
Well,
ass.
talking
They
like
just
Peter Thiel and I mean, Heritage Foundation is one of just, I mean, there's hundreds of these organizations. Like
right,
you can't even keep
right.
track of them because they will literally, because it I've created a nonprofit corporation before.
Okay,
Okay. And it was, it was like less than $100 and some paperwork and filing to get an EIN with the IRS. I mean, it wasn't a big deal.
right,
In fact, for a wealthy person with a secretary, it wasn't even a little deal. It would have been a,
right,
hey, go do this, and it would have been done.
right,
So these people creating a PAC, which is nothing more than a nonprofit corporation,
right.
and funding it, and they get to fund it with dark money. Bam.
Yes,
You know?
yes.
So
What I've heard actually is that Jared Kushner is behind a lot of this. Like
uh,
he's the quiet one, but he's the one who's like getting a lot of money, funding a lot of money through
he is
fake.
definitely deep in the Middle East stuff.
Yes.
Super deep in the Middle East.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I've kind of wondered. It was interesting. Did you see the rant in the Irish Parliament
No, I
about
didn't.
whether or not they should be censuring the United States?
No.
Because they were like, they're like, he's like, they aren't doing this for any other reason than they got what they wanted in Gaza. They bulldozed it. They did a genocide, and no one did anything. And they looked over at Iran and said, Iran's troublesome. Let's go ahead and bulldoze them too.
Yeah.
I mean, he actually accuses, and I sit there and I look at things like how we're pressuring Cuba. I mean, he is pushing to rebuild empire.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
acting
Oh
like
yeah.
an late 1800s colonial maniac instead of
Yeah.
a 21st century head of state,
Yeah,
to be
well,
honest.
head of state. I like, but yes, he is.
Well, he
He
never
is,
acted
and
like a head of state, but I mean,
he is never right.
he's his actual he might as well be a Japanese warlord for the way he looks at things. You know?
Right. Yeah. He's
Like,
I remember waking up in was it 2016 when he was first elected, and I was like, how the fuck did this happen?
right.
How did we get here? And I was so shocked that I thought that there was no way it could happen again. Absolutely no
Oh, I
way.
know, especially after January 6th. You're like, well, no right person's going to put somebody who tried to throw a whole election. No
Right.
one's going to elect that person. No one's that dumb,
And then
except
it happened again.
37% of us
Right. It
who
happened
apparently
again.
believe it's better.
Well, I just don't. What I don't understand is there more of us than them, and we
There
can't see.
are.
We can't seem to get. But everything's rigged, so
Everything is
that's the problem.
rigged. And the other thing
Um,
is, humans are very easily to manipulate. And
yes,
they have done a ton of research on how to manipulate our choices since about the 1960s. And so they literally sit there and they pick out these things and they give you these choices that aren't even real choices that only let you get to one decision for them. And I mean, one of the things that did happen, and I know this happened, it's so well documented. Jerry Falwell was the president of a church and had an attached Bible college.
liberty.
And the 1960s, we had the whole civil rights movement and everything. And he was told he could no longer get federal funding for his little Christian college
Yes, I remember
if
this.
he did not integrate. He did
Right,
not want to integrate because he was
right,
a flaming Southern Baptist racist.
right.
So he went to the Republican Party members that be and said, look, I can guarantee you voters forever. He
Yes,
said, you take and you say, all life is sacred. Life
right,
begins at conception, and you take an anti abortion plank,
right.
and I will get everybody in churches to vote for you
And that's how it works.
because you will give up your own safety to protect an innocent. So when you sit there going, okay, if I vote for this guy, I'm going to lose unions and I'm going to end up with giving tax breaks to the richest among us and I'm going to lose benefits and everything, but I save babies, especially when your pastor's sitting there going, if you vote for the other side, you're going to go to hell because you're complicit with all that infanticide.
Right, but see, the crazy thing about that is they want to save the babies, but they don't want to save the people who have the babies.
Well, okay, that it depends on where you go. When we're trying to manipulate people, we're not looking for any follow through beyond the vote.
Right.
And when
Well,
you look
that's
at
true.
the
That's
people
true.
that are pushing this whole thing, they definitely don't want to save the babies.
Right.
They if they did, they'd worry about things like prenatal care, investigating why a black woman is more likely to die from giving birth than a white woman, and maybe
Right.
adjust care to make sure she's safer. You know,
My sister almost died twice, by the way, from giving birth. Yeah. And it is true. It's
my
100% true.
I realized she was white, but my husband's second son's wife nearly bled to death
Yeah. Yeah.
on after her second child.
Yeah.
She's
My eggs stepmom, same thing,
Mhm.
almost died. You know, I don't know what we are talking about. The creature is no Alexander the
I think
Great,
she's
though.
talking about Trump, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't think she's
not
talking
really an
about the bunny.
oh, that's a cute bunny,
I
and Trump
I
is no Alexander the Great.
I
Yeah.
tried real ears for the first time.
That is cute. I like
They're
the real ears.
they're hard
It
to
turned
make
out well.
stand up.
It looks almost like a Pikachu.
Ooh, I could do a Pikachu.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
Ooh, I could do a Pikachu pretty darn easy. I just need a picture
Yeah,
of it at this point.
you really could.
Now
Um,
I've got visions of Pikachu in my head. Do I have a brown? Have dark gray. I might need brown, but other than that, I could do a Pikachu. I can do that. But anyhow, yes, she was talking about Trump. Okay, here we're. You can actually make me rant about politics and what they do to LGBTQ, people of color,
well, go ahead and
women.
hit something. Yeah,
It's all I ever rant about half the time.
I know.
Um,
Listen, I do the same.
I
It makes. Go ahead.
I keep trying to figure out in my brain as someone who comes from the very I don't know. You were raised, if I remember correctly, in a very conservative Christian family too, right?
So I was raised on an army base. My dad was a lieutenant colonel.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, 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 yeah. And then he grad
You said something about relatives that were really you had
yes. So
relatives or something that were
my
like
dad
really
retired colonel. So while we were on base, we went
Mhm.
to a non-denominational church, and it
Right.
wasn't like all crazy. My relatives are evangelicals, and they are insane. So I
Yeah.
don't deal with them. But when we moved to Atlanta, that is when my family became even more conservative in
Yeah.
Christianity. I left the church at 16. I was like, I'm not having this. And I became a pariah in my family, and that unfortunately cost it cost a lot of it cost a lot between
Yeah.
me and my family, and then me coming out as trans, it was just just the final
I
straw. So
have been considering my one all of the pastors in my family that I know about are retired. I say that I
right,
know about because I haven't kept up with the cousins' kids enough to know if one or two of them might have become a pastor at some point.
right.
Um, but anyhow, I keep thinking about text messaging him and saying, "Hey, guess what? I am deconstructed. I am so far deconstructed that I think the Jesus tomb's probably real because
I
that
don't
totally." Oh, you don't know about the Jesus tomb?
No, no, I
Okay.
don't know anything about Christianity anymore.
About
I'm
15,
sorry.
20 years ago, they found an ossuary, and
Okay,
inscribed on it was Yeshua bar Joseph,
okay,
son of Miriam,
okay,
brother of James.
okay,
And another ossuary actually had Yeshua's wife Miriam's bones in him.
okay.
Miriam is the Hebrew for Mary.
Right.
And Mary Magdalene in some gospels is his wife.
There we go. Yeah.
But the thing is, you can't rise bodily into heaven and leave your bones behind.
You shit.
So when I say I believe in the Jesus tomb, it suggests that I've really gone off of the whole Jesus is the son, risen Son of God
Oh my God. I didn't
thing.
even think about that. That is so funny to me. Yes.
Joe, I had the best pastor in my most recent life. He was what they call a parsonage pastor. A lot of poor churches, it used to be, they would buy a parsonage, the church would own it, and the pastor would live in the parsonage. And then they
Yeah.
would actually, the thing is, they pay taxes on the rental value of the parsonage their entire lives.
Right.
They get no equity. They don't get paid enough to get a mortgage,
But they live there.
but they
That's,
live there. But
right.
the thing is, when
And
you get to retirement age, you're homeless.
really, I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
they
I thought
don't
that,
let you retire there. They need to put the new pastor in the parsonage.
oh, that is horrible. That
Yeah,
the church, yeah, so that's really bad. And and that's why the church needs to keep on tithing people so they get money to keep on running their
right,
church,
right,
you
right.
know. And
It's yeah,
yeah, it's a
exactly.
racket.
It
I
is.
asked my dad because it's like my dad's church is like it started as a small church and increasingly grew in size and stature, and now it is a big ass motherfucking church. And my dad
Mhm.
is one of the reverends, and I'm like, why do y'all tithe so much? Like y'all are, why are you giving like 20% of your money? And I'm
20%.
like,
That's 10 plus
he's
10.
he's given 20%, like he and my mom, yeah, together 20%, so 10 each. And I'm like, why are y'all, and of course he went in on this thing, and I understand this, and the reason why I understand this is because I give money to trans people.
Mhm,
I give money to trans organizations.
mhm.
I don't have a lot of money. I don't make buku de bucks.
You buy crazy stuff from crazy women.
Yes, I do. But that's art. I buy art,
You're an
I buy
artiste.
things that I love, that are art, that I consider art. But I do help trans people. I help queer people that come to me, and if they need money,
Mhm.
and I have it, I
Right,
give it freely. If
right.
they need conversation, I'm an ear.
Right.
So I understand that point. I do. It's just when you are taking money to continue running a structure that needs to continue to be ran, like a
Mhm.
church, a building, and saying that people need to do this in order to get into heaven, and
Right, right. That's
that's when
it,
it
the
becomes a problem.
coerciveness of it is a
Right,
big part of
right,
the problem.
right.
And as I've gotten further and further deconstructed, I realized how much the way Christianity is applied just creates an authoritarian mindset, especially
Yes.
the farther afield you get in it. Like, so there became something called higher criticism. And I think it was the late 1800s, early 1900s at some point, and it wasn't necessarily a new theory as much. It was more kind of openly discussed, and they said, okay, the Bible is not all literal. The Bible has
Oh,
poetry and it has mythology and it has allegory and all these other
right.
things. And you have to read it being aware that mountains don't sing and trees don't jump. And it's okay that they don't.
Right,
It's
burning bushes don't
fine.
talk.
Donkeys
Yeah,
don't see angels when you can't and tell you that you're going to get in trouble if you feed them again. No, I mean,
right.
some of these things don't have to have happened to still have value either.
Right,
But the
right,
fundamentalists, because you can control your population so well by giving them a very black and white box and say, don't you dare get out of any of it, they couldn't handle that.
right.
And that became the fundamentalist pushback. Were the
So
people
let me
going?
ask you something.
Mhm.
How did you get involved in the church, and how did you get stuck in the church for so long? Like, I just don't know. Like, it just seems really
Okay. I there were three Baptist pastors on my mom's side of the family.
okay. I mean,
Um,
yeah. So I've got pastors and reverends
church
on my side of the family.
was
Yeah,
Sunday morning, Sunday evening,
sounds like my
Wednesday,
relatives. Yeah, sounds
Wednesday,
like my relatives.
Saturday,
Yep, sounds
and
exactly like my
any
evangelical relatives.
other
Yeah,
special stuff.
yeah.
Um, my dad actually considered being a pastor for a while in one part of his childhood. He ended up being a state trooper.
Oh, mm,
Um, I ended up growing up in a very, very, and for a while I did there were a couple agnostic moments off and on over the years, but
right.
mostly I kept going back to it because I couldn't figure out how to not be leaving anything.
Did you okay, not necessarily believe in nothing, but did you ever think about maybe there's a different path, like spirituality? So maybe
Um,
paganism or like all these different
oh, I've
paths
been
that would
all over those paths, or
okay.
looked at a lot of them. In fact, there's this thing called the Belief-O-Matic
I not heard of that. Yeah.
website. Yes,
Oh,
and
no. Okay.
it has like 11, 12, 17, God knows how many religions, and
Okay.
it'll sit
Okay.
there and give you these you know I believe that God is one being, three essences, or I believe God is three individual things that work together, or I don't believe any of those.
Or I
I don't
believe like
believe there's an
everything is
actual
connected,
God,
like ominism, or
etc.
animism.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
it kind of it's a long quiz. I think it's just probably 60 questions or so in it. And most I was the thing is it didn't have what I was looking for in a way. I had a friend I ran into 20 years ago who told me there is a way to be a Christian druid. And that's kind of I
yeah.
saw auras
Yeah.
around trees as a child.
Okay, okay.
And the
That
auras
that
got brighter when it was going to rain. You could see the trees being excited to see the rain coming.
okay.
And I can't see it now as an adult, and it makes me sad because I saw it for years. It wasn't a just one-off thing. I could
Wait,
look at the sky.
why don't you think you can see it anymore? Is it a block in your head?
I think I got too busy,
Okay,
and
that
I
makes
don't
sense.
know if I can ever reground enough to have that openness again or not.
That
Because
makes sense, yeah,
adulthood changes you, sadly.
yeah,
Um,
no, we lose
there's
some of the
a
child in us.
there's a quote
That's
from the Santa Claus. I think it's the first movie where the little boy is told that the magic they outgrow the magic,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's why they can't see Santa anymore.
Yeah, that is
And
from the Santa Claus, yeah. Mhm,
and
okay.
and we outgrow something. And
But the trick is to go back, as we get older, the trick is to try and go back, not
yeah,
necessarily to childhood, but to
I'm
to
not
capture some of that magic that we were
trying.
able.
I am trying. I'm trying to figure out how to ground myself and see that. And sometimes I even wonder if it's just the wrong trees. If
Do
maybe I
you
just
go you
don't
live
know
in the
these trees
woods,
as
don't
well.
you, or no?
I did. I grew
Okay,
up
do
on
you
116 acres.
Oh, okay,
We
yeah.
owned both sides of the road, and we lived
Nice,
in a
yeah.
valley. So
No.
I could walk out of my house down my little sidewalk to the road and turn around in a circle on that road, and I couldn't see anything that wasn't ours.
Yeah. So my grandfather owned a farm, and
Hmm.
same way on both sides of the road. All you could
Hmm.
see was corn on one side of the road, and on the farm we had all sorts of animals: chickens, cows, pigs, all sorts of animals.
Well, I
And
did not grow up on a farm.
oh, so we did, not me,
No,
my
I had
grandfather. Yeah.
it was almost all trees.
Oh, okay, okay.
And
So woods. Yeah,
yeah, and your eastern or northern white pine, whichever one it was, they can grow up about 100 feet tall at the tallest.
yeah, Yeah.
So it's like skyscraper sized trees in my world.
Right, right. So Georgia is
Uh,
called the city in like or Atlanta is called the city in the forest. Because it used to be the city in the forest. They're chopping down all the trees now to make more homes, which is sad for me.
mhm.
So you grew up in the forest, you were able to see auras. That I can believe. Like I have no problem believing that.
Right.
Because I feel like I can read energy. I've
Mhm.
always felt this way. Even since I was young, you
I can
know.
feel the wisdom in the trees.
Can you?
I can feel their presence.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
can you
yes.
it's such an amazing thing because I feel kind of bad for trees because they can't get away from whatever happens. They just
Right.
have to
Well,
accept it. But they
yeah.
see
Well,
so much.
yes,
And
yes.
that there
And
is
you
a
can put your hand on a tree and feel the
feel
energy,
the
you know?
energy. Oh yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. I
yes.
love to do that.
Yeah. So, I feel like there is such a thing called a Christian witch. Like when I
Mhm.
started in witchcraft, there was no such thing as a Christian witch.
Right.
And then, like, when the years started passing, Christian witchcraft got big. And I was like, what is this thing called a Christian witch? How can you be a Christian witch or like a Christian Wiccan, you know? Um,
Right.
so I can see Christian witchcraft that you can do because witchcraft is just the craft of doing
Right.
spells and all of that. That is fine, but Christian Wiccanism, Christian Wicca just never made sense to me.
Well,
It's just
yeah. Because
yeah.
most of what you would do with your intentionality for spells and stuff, you would do with prayer,
Well,
right?
yes. Yes, for the most part, but with Wicca, you call down the elements. You call
Hmm.
down, of course, like Michael and
Mm,
Uriel and Gabriel. And, you call the four corners and the four saints, and you do
okay.
all this stuff to set up a magic circle, and set up everything so that raising energy and sending it off.
Right.
All this stuff is done, and it's done in ritual, just like in church, just like in a
Right.
Catholic church. And so, in that aspect, it's the same. But the duality is where it gets different. You honor
Right.
nature, you honor Mother Nature,
Right.
and you honor the goddess as equal as the god.
Right.
And in other traditions, the goddess is there
Right.
is no god, it is
See,
the goddess.
to me, I really think that what it is there is something that we all can feel. We know it's there. We just don't know what it is.
Right.
If that makes any sense. So we make up religion is all about man saying there is something bigger than me and I can sense it and I can see it moving sometimes. And
So that
like
may
like
be spirituality.
well, I'm just saying that
Religion.
I think that that's where everything really is in the real world. Religion is man explaining how he's experiencing that. It doesn't mean that it's exactly what any of us says it is because we can't
Right.
experience it all entirely because it's beyond us. So we get glimpses and
But the
see
difference
it.
between religion and spirituality is that religion, there is one person who
Religion
said,
has
okay,
dogma.
yeah, there it is, dogma. That's it, that's the
That's
word. Like
it.
religion
Religion has
says that,
dogma.
okay, you have to believe this, and this is it, you
And this
know.
is how you
Uh,
have to do it. You
right.
can't do it any other way or you're going to do it
Right.
wrong. Yeah, it's
Now, to be fair, traditional
mhm,
witchcraft is
mhm,
the same thing. It's passed
right,
down from generation to generation to generation.
right.
Same with Druidism,
Mhm.
same with a
Well,
lot of.
Druidism was recreated.
Yes, but by being recreated, they took some of the stuff and,
They
you
tried
know,
to do what they
right,
do,
tried to
but yeah, it
bridge
was
the gap, and
recreated.
that's
It
the same thing. That's the same thing with Wicca. Wicca
yeah,
started, and then like they tried to make it the old religion. It wasn't the old religion. It started, I think, in what, like in the 50s? Not maybe not.
yeah.
Yeah, in the 50s, in the Black
There have
Forest
been
Government.
several. Because I got obsessed with of course Nazis because so much of this reminds me of 30s Germany, 40, early 40s
Yeah,
Germany.
sure, sure.
Um, and
They
when they
got
were
yeah
doing
involved in the occult. Yeah,
all of their various expeditions,
Um,
they found pockets of people who were isolated enough in Nordic countries that they
right.
still had the original oral traditions
Okay.
of the other religions.
Right.
And they actually wrote them down. And of
Right.
course, they tried to then twist it around a little bit and make it into their perfect Nazi religion. But they actually
Right.
did manage to retrieve things that, like, in there's a Tubi about Nazi expeditions and about how they like went and there was this woman who was known to know this song and this special ritual, and they begged and got her finally to give in and do it. And she didn't realize they would be videoing and taping it, and of course had never really seen any of that, and she was convinced that she gave them her magic and she would never have it again after they
Mm,
finished. And she
okay.
was like this 80-year-old woman still practicing traditional nature
Um,
worship, and in a way they stole it from her.
yeah, definitely.
And
Definitely.
it was heartbreaking to see the story. I'm like, that's terrible.
It is
Why?
terrible.
Why would you not
Like,
have some level of of course they didn't have cultural sensitivity. They thought they were the
right.
master race, so nobody else counted. But
Right.
she was also supposedly part of their master race if she had their miracle religion, so they should have treated her a little better.
Right,
But
right. But yeah, the Nazis, the whole German and the occult thing, they stole it from, was it Thelema, the rose, the
the
circle, uh
there
the
was the Theosophy by
yes,
Helena
Madame
Blavatsky.
Blavatsky,
Blavatsky, yeah,
yes.
and there was
Um
they took some
who we
things from
talk
the Edda, which was the
yeah, yeah.
narratives about the Norse gods and everything,
And
and
then Eliphas Levi and the a circle of, oh shit, circle of the Rosy Cross. No,
the
something of the Rosy
Rosicrucians.
Cross. The Rosicrucians, yeah, but there it's like the circle of the Rosy Cross, or in other words, like, well, I can't say that because I'm fucking
There's
bound.
still like a a museum somewhere in Germany that
Right.
has an original wooden sculpture they did of Odin crucified on the world tree.
Really, yeah, hung upside down. Yeah. He should be
Yeah,
hung upside down. Yeah.
I don't know if he is or not, but I found out they actually built this one place to literally make you think of Atlantis, because they
Okay.
of course were convinced that Atlantis was
Right.
where the Aryans came from,
Right.
and it has a wooden Odin being crucified as part of its decor.
So that's really strange because I am not, I didn't study Norse religion. Like when I started in witchcraft, Wicca,
Hmm.
it was specifically and strictly Celtic,
Okay,
meaning, yeah,
cool.
it was not Norse like now. And I'm like, where did all this Norse stuff come in? Because there was no Norse stuff. It was all Irish, Gaelic,
Right.
Wales, Scottish, all of that. Um,
I think part of it unfortunately is the white nationalist influence.
yeah, definitely,
Um
100%. Yeah,
my son had a friend who got him kind of more interested in the Norse stuff because it became really big on the internet and stuff too. And
right,
I'm suspicious that that person actually might be white nationalist adjacent, and I'm kind of sad about it because I love the kid.
right.
And the fact that he's in that section of the world just makes me so sad because he had a rough life. Um,
Typically, the best way to get somebody into that lifestyle.
yeah, he they finally got to move in with their dad after their um mother hurt his big brother, and he got so
Good.
mad he shattered his hand punching a wall instead of hitting her. And that was the last time they had lived with their mother. And they were 16 and 15 at that point, and they'd lived with that woman for all that time.
Yeah,
And so
that yeah,
that
that
kind of childhood trauma makes you susceptible to a lot.
it does, and that's unfortunate, and that's what they prey on. That's
Hmm.
exactly what they prey on.
He had such
Susceptible
a
children.
bad childhood that he asked my husband and I to adopt him for the senior march out for the band. He
Yeah,
said, "Can you guys be my parents too?" So we
No,
stood with him and my son that night.
that's really nice. It's I and I can't say anything because my parents treated me like shit too. But like a parent, this is what I don't get. A parent in the very beginning, when you have children, when you're pregnant, when you're
Right.
trying to have children, anybody who's trying to have children, they're like, oh, all I want is a healthy child. You know,
Until they
I
get
just
one.
want until they get one. Yeah, until
Then
they
they
get
want a
one.
perfect child on top of a healthy one.
Right. And when that child does not subscribe and ascribe to their values and their beliefs, then it's a problem. So when I came out as trans, it was a problem, you know.
Hmm.
My parents wanted a healthy child. Now, here's the fucked up thing. My mom dressed me as a girl for several years.
Wow.
Plats, like dresses, all sorts of stuff. She thought I was going to be a girl. It turned out that I was born as a boy, but she didn't necessarily accept that. And then all these years later, when I came out, and I wore purses, wore dresses, I painted my nails from age 16, and I came out at age 42, and she's like, "What the fuck?" I had no clue. This just blows my mind, and I'm like, okay, like how much more do I have to tell you, like without telling you? So
To
my
do it to do the binary boxes again. I'm listening to you talk about that and going, yep, she's more of a woman than I am.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy when I look back at my younger years. I
Mhm.
mean, it was just it was just I was screaming, and screaming into this void that I didn't know anything about. Like I did, like honestly, I didn't think there was anybody like me. And this is the same narrative I hear from a lot of trans people,
Mhm.
is that they don't know a lot, especially a lot of trans people who transition later in life, is that
Right.
they have never seen a trans person. They
Yeah.
never knew anything about it. The only thing I knew was Jerry Springer, and I was like, nah,
Oh,
that is
yeah.
not me. I'm
When I
like, that
worked
is
at the
not me.
phone company, we there was someone who transitioned while I worked there.
Right.
I don't know how far she transitioned. When I started working there, um, she was still had a full beard,
Right.
had slightly long hair, but was always dressed in what pretty much could be called a caftan.
Okay.
Um, and I was like not totally sure if they were somebody taking advantage of the dress code and just rolling out of bed and what showing up and what they slept in or what at first. And finally I got brave enough to ask, and someone said, "Oh, they're trans." Now back then trans was definitely not as common. This
So
was
back then, how long ago was this? What year was this?
98.
So it would either been a transvestite or a transsexual.
Yes, and then they,
Yeah.
they said that she was transsexual.
Yeah.
And I watched her get more and more feminine for the 3.5, 4 years I worked there.
That's
And
great.
she was
Eh,
always so standoffish and everything. And I only ever saw her in the elevator. We didn't work on the same floor or anything, so I never got to know her really well. And I almost felt kind of bad because you could just see her shaking, shrinking into herself the whole
uh,
time. She didn't shrink as much after she started being more feminine,
um,
but there was this very obvious quiet wall around her, which I'm sure was her trying to avoid anyone making fun of her or making her uncomfortable. So
yeah.
she just did the whole, I'm not going to look at anybody. I'm not going to get anyone's attention. I'm just quietly in this elevator. Leave me be. And
Yeah, definitely.
so I
You know, I
did, but
I
I always felt
understand that.
bad. I always wanted to say to
Well,
her, "Hi, I'd like to get to know you," but I figured she'd probably think I was a crazy weirdo. So,
so here's the thing I think about, and I was on a live earlier today, and somebody was I don't know who asked it. It may have been Joe, asked about something about transition, and I broke it down. Like there's I don't know if you know the difference between bottom surgeries. Do you,
I know
for
a
trans
little
people?
bit
Okay,
about it. I
yeah.
mean, pretty much for from what I understand, they build stuff for a man from there's major reconstruction from everything I understand, but they pretty much like do they use the penis to create the vagina, right?
Yeah, so it's called a penile inversion. So
Right.
they will flip it and then create a neo vagina,
And
which
then you
you
need
know.
to use dilators and keep getting it stretched farther. For dilators are a big thing in interstitial cystitis too. So
Yeah, so like they're hard. They're not just like dildos. They're
mm-mm.
hard. They're
They're
plastic.
hard, and a lot of times some of them are like more like a circle with a stick instead of
Yeah,
just
yeah, and they get
yeah.
bigger and bigger and
Hmm.
bigger as you go on, so that you can keep the hole bigger and bigger and bigger. And
Right,
I keep on
right,
saying the hole, but the
right,
vagina bigger and bigger and bigger
right,
until you start having penis and vagina sex. And if
right,
you have that like 3, 4 times a week, then you're cool. But if not, you still have to dilate, and this is for the
right,
rest of your life. And
right.
even with penis and
There
vagina
is
sex, you
so
still
much to do. It's
yeah. So
I always look at that and go, if anyone cannot have the empathy to have that
right,
somebody's willing to go through that much to
right,
do such a fundamental change, if you can't have the empathy to say, I don't walk your journey, but I will support it. I mean,
right.
that's all it takes. It's the one thing that frustrates me. In fact, Joe had said something about how do you interact with indoctrinated people. And one of the things I have been trying so hard to wrap my brain around is how to reach indoctrinated people.
Yeah,
Because the biggest flaw in trying to argue with a right wing Christian is they believe that forcing you to live their values is good for you.
right. Okay.
So they don't think telling you you can't be a lesbian is mean.
Right, and that's my parents. My parents, yeah, same thing, They love the sinner, hate the sin,
Mhm.
That
And
is
they don't
the
see, in fact, if you tell them, no, no, you don't understand. This is how I am wired. They say, no, I've been heard of people being accused of being possessed
yes, of
or
course. Yeah,
loving their sin too
yes,
much. And they're like,
yes.
you are identifying as your sin instead of as a person. And it's like,
These are evangelical talking points. I know
yes.
because my family is filled with them.
And I'm trying to figure out how to let them know that it is not healthy for you.
No.
How do you change their mindset when they are, I mean, right, I don't know how I got there. And then I got mad the whole time I watched it. There's a thing called the Ark in in the Darkness on Tubi right now.
Okay.
I go to sleep on and I run documentaries in the background. That's why I talk about so much stuff. I've constantly got documentaries going. It's not that I'm super bright. I just watch too much television. Anyhow, anyhow,
I think you're a lot brighter than you give yourself credit for.
the arc and the darkness is done by Liberty University and the Ark Encounter.
Okay.
And when plate tectonics explained so much of the creation and then the way the world is and everything, they decided to use the part where it said the water burst up from the depths.
Okay.
Instead, what really happened to start the flood is that there were major earthquakes and tsunamis are why we have dinosaurs, because all of the earthquake tsunamis, and they say that the instead of slowly spreading, that the earth became what it is now over the 40 days and 40 nights, with
Yes.
massive earthquakes and volcanoes going the whole time, creating all these tsunamis to kill all the dinosaurs.
Right.
And they told you that God only had to bring one of each kind. So like all of the canine family, there was one pair of dogs. All of the horses, there was one set of horses. And then they said, well, they didn't have to bring on any insects. And then they tell you that the world was covered entirely by water and floods and everything else for 40 days. Where the heck were those insects that they
Right.
didn't get drowned and wiped out over those 40 days?
Right. Okay.
Hello. It's like there were all these little inconsistencies as they said. I was like, yeah, scientists just don't want to believe, but we can show you why they're all wrong. And then they come up with all these little new stories
Right.
to match the current science and assure you that, look, we've known this the whole time. We've always said that water came up from the deep. So obviously we meant earthquakes. We just didn't say that before. And it's like,
Well, so what's going on nowadays is almost kind of the same in the sense that they're erasing history.
yeah,
They are
they were
actively
talking about how God was so benevolent
right,
for doing the flood
right,
because he let one whole family survive and two of every kind except insects and fish. And the fish, of course, didn't need rescuing, obviously, but you know,
right,
insects and birds and everything, apparently they didn't, they were fine. But
right,
so they tell you, that God did this because of his benevolence.
right,
And they totally left out the Nephilim. I kept waiting for that because that was supposed to be a major trigger. Was
right,
the angels came down and started screwing all the women? No, no. Instead, they focused on things like men having sex with men and
right.
transgenders. And they're like, all of this current wickedness is going to get us just like the flood. But now it's Jesus coming back and he's setting the whole world on fire. And
They
this
have
is how you have
really
to tell us.
they have really done done a good job with people, and it's not even a large population of people. It is just
Mm-mm.
the loudest population of people
Right.
who
Exactly.
and that's the problem. We need the largest population of people to speak up and be louder, but just like Gavin Newsom says, let's push trans rights off to the side.
Oh,
That's
I
not
was so
really important
angry.
right now. What's that?
That's why I like Pritzker so much better. Pritzker
Yeah.
said,
Oh, yeah.
no, we don't
Yeah.
throw people under the bus and back up.
Right.
And
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like trans is 1% of the population.
Right.
And I mean, I guess that they're going, well, actually, it's always red herrings anyhow with them.
Yeah.
And it's so telling that their biggest argument about against LGBTQ is pedophilia when they're the biggest pedophiles out
Right.
there.
They have a pedophile in the office, in the biggest office in the United States,
Right.
and they know this. That's the
Hmm.
problem. Everybody knows it, and
Right.
nobody's doing anything. You
Mm-mm.
know, but when a trans person tries to use the bathroom,
They're gonna try and kill
they're going to
me.
get a year in jail.
Yeah.
This is it is getting crazy. So me and
And not
Egg
only that, but the hate creates open season.
hate, a lot of hate, a lot of
Right.
hate. Me like so much to the fact that there's a museum in Georgia of a person who did like it's like art of it's almost like sculpture, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily sculpture. It's of made things. So I don't. He was a preacher, a Baptist preacher, but he also made art. His art fell into disrepair because it was
Mm.
all outside stuff. They repaired it and opened it up. My bestie wants to go, but what she doesn't understand is it's outside of Atlanta. And if it's outside
Mm.
of Atlanta, I have to actually do a lot of research because there are still sundown towns around here.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not fucking going anywhere near those towns. Like if I got to pass through those towns, I don't go to the bathroom. I
Mm-hmm.
don't get out of the car. I don't speed. We don't speed. Nothing.
Mm-mm. Oh no.
Yeah. So
No.
there's still even in the state of Georgia, there are not a lot of safe places for me.
Right.
So I have to be careful, and unfortunately, that's how my mom. We've started repairing our relationship, and my mom, just like last month, she was calling me hysterical, and she had seen something on the news about a trans person getting killed, and she was like, I don't know how you do it. Like, how can you go outside in all these short dresses, and the way you talk and the way you look and you wear makeup, and what's going to happen to you? You're going to get killed. I'm like, Mom, I've been doing this since 2015. I've been doing it my whole life. People stare at me all the time. I'm getting used to it. It's something I'm used to. I can't help it. This
Right.
is me, and I'm going to be me. I've to the point where I'm 10 toes down now. If they want to come and get me, they can come and get me. It's like V for Vendetta. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
No,
Uh,
I've seen parts, but I never watched the whole
Okay.
thing.
Well, Natalie Portman's in that movie, and she's
Hmm.
in like a jail of her own making. And
Oh,
basically, it's like, finally she says, take me out behind the shed and shoot me. She's ready for that's true freedom. And so when
hmm.
they take her out behind the shed to shoot her, there's nobody there. All the doors are open. So that's
Cool.
the true freedom she gets, when
Hmm.
you finally understand that they can't take away what you are. You are
Right.
truly free. And
Hmm.
so fuck them.
Cool.
No,
Yeah, neat way to put it.
no.
Um, yeah, it's been interesting. My niece is sharing her
Whoa,
privacy
hold on
login.
now.
What?
Banksy has been identified?
Identified. Yeah,
Wait, who is Banksy?
the artist that
No,
does
no,
the
no.
like.
I mean, I know, but who is it?
I
Is
don't
it
know,
is it
but
3D?
I saw a blurb that
Oh,
said Banksy has been identified and
oh
the
shit.
artwork is expected to go up.
No, of course it is. It's going to go up by billions, millions. If Banksy has been identified, I for a long time I have thought he is one of the members of Massive Attack, the group Massive Attack. Mushroom or 3G, I can't remember his name. Let's see. I'm gonna have to search this right now because
They apparently got a picture of them. The media may
Bank,
have unmasked Banksy yesterday.
Banksy
It's on
face
AP
Banksy identity.
News, Los Angeles Times.
Wait, I'm not seeing it. I'm on.
Apparent unmasking by Reuters news agency. Let's see.
Okay. I've seen
Some
like two
critics
Reddit posts about this.
believes in the bathtub, the Russian forces, at least 300.
The problem is I'm
Apparently
not.
did a painting in Ukraine.
Yeah, he's done paintings all over the
Yeah.
place, but the problem is I'm not really seeing pictures of him. Who is
No.
Banksy? Like, and that's the
Yeah,
thing.
well,
They're
his
not.
attorney is apparently well known, so I don't understand this. His
I
longtime
think.
lawyer, Mark Stevens, wrote to Reuters that Banksy does not accept that many of the details contained within your inquiry are correct. Without confirming or denying the identity, Stevens urged us not to publish this report.
Yeah, because it's not
So,
fucking true. Like I.
okay.
Oh, okay, okay. So Robin Gunningham is the individual identified by Major Reuters' investigation as the real identity of Banksy, not Robert Del Naja of Massive Attack. That's who I thought it was. The investigation, published March 2026, claims to have revealed Banksy's identity beyond dispute. Citing travel records, a 2000 New York arrest file, and evidence that Cunningham changed his legal name to David Jones to go off the grid.
This is
Yeah.
cool. Okay,
Um,
as the Ukraine murals appeared, Banksy posted a video on his Instagram confirming the pieces were his. Footage also showed a painter wearing a gray hoodie in Harenka. It was
yeah, I
filmed
see
from
that.
behind the man hiding his face. We went back to the village in hopes that locals had a better view. These days, with all the other cameras, all they had to do is find a few cameras and
Yeah.
get him turning his head the right way, and they've got him.
Yeah. So Banksy should have worn like I don't know if you do you know what YNs are?
Mm-mm.
You may not. So I'm
No.
not I don't know if any of y'all oh wait. Massive Attack rocked. Yes, Massive Attack was amazing. Oh, you did covers of their songs with band. Oh, Joe, so much awesomeness. What was I saying? Oh, YNs. YNs. So I don't know how to say this without being like shocking to y'all, but
It's okay. You might be surprised
YNs
how
are
hard I
what
am to shock.
YNs stand for young niggas,
Oh.
and these are basically kids in inner cities who are in gangs
Mhm.
and
This is
like
it's
live the street life. And I don't know. Oh, and they wear like when they go on rides,
mhm.
they wear like these almost like ski masks that come up like this and
Oh,
cover
like
their
the
head.
gators and stuff?
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
kinds of things. Okay.
Yeah, so that's it seems like Banksy should be wearing something like that. So it's
Yeah.
just his eyes. But I don't know. Like it's, the fact that they finally figured out who Banksy is sucks. You know
Yeah.
that.
I mean,
I,
part of what made him popular was the mystique of
right.
not being known.
Right.
So.
That is too bad. So Joe, what kind of a Massive Attack did you play? I love Massive Attack. That they have one of my favorite songs of all time, in Protection with Tracy Thorn. Absolutely one of my favorite songs of all time. I can't name like one favorite song, but this song is one I go back to. Oh my God, all the time, all the time, all
Mhm.
the time. Yeah.
Man, I don't listen to music enough. I
Oh,
get into these times when I'll listen to it, but I'm not a big fan for headphones.
okay. See, mhm.
Um they that for one thing I've always mostly done the in-ear buds because I don't like to be so hot. But
Right.
the in-ear for some reason they make my ears hurt weird, so I never get. I'm told I have small ears according to my son.
Okay.
He says I have small ear canals. I know that I have trouble with my eustachian tubes are so inflamed or small or whatever that they actually there's like clicking noises from my eustachian tubes getting fluid and sticking together and unsticking. I'll hear
So,
clicking in my ear from it.
how does that? I mean, is that something you can hear all the time?
No, but I'll hear it
Okay.
off and on, and I'll be like,
Okay.
"Oh boy!" Usually, when allergies are bad, I'll start hearing
Ro-
clicking in my
Okay.
ears,
Okay.
and
Where
it's like a
you?
wet kind of noise.
I would hate that.
It's
Um, where you live, do you get the pollination? Like we call it the seasoning in Atlanta because
the
everything
bright
turns like
yellow
yeah,
and
like lemon
green.
pepper wings. Yeah, lemon
Yeah.
pepper chicken wings, and that's what
Um,
everything is like right now. So
the road dust changes color that time of year. When
okay,
you wake
yeah,
up,
yeah.
when you wipe off your table, it's green
The
instead of.
okay, right. That's how it is all over the place right now. Like it changed within a day. Now it's
Yeah.
just like lemon pepper seasoning.
Yeah,
Um,
unfortunately for me, I always have dust. It's just the dust color changes when I wipe it off the table this time of year to about a green because yellow
right,
and brown often turn green. So I end up
right.
wipe it off and I pick up my towel. I'm like, oh, look, it's green. We've got lots of pollen today.
Yay,
Yay for
pollen is
pollen.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, my son and I both are allergic to many pollens and dust and
Oh
um
God, so am I. So like my
yeah.
whole family. Like
Yeah,
I've
my
got
dad was that way.
sisters. And, yeah, my niece had to come home from school today because they were playing outside and the pollen was so bad that her face
Mm,
swelled up and she had to come home from school and like take
poor kid.
Zyrtec and Benadryl and
Hmm.
just no. So I don't know. Like honestly, in Georgia, they need to like keep those kids inside, like build a gymnasium or some shit, because it is too it's just too crazy. It's too hot and too seasoning out there. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
it used to be we played outside all the time though. It's
yeah.
hard to
Oh God, I
believe.
remember. Like we
Yeah,
would play outside until the and my mom said, play outside until the sun goes down, until the lights
mhm,
come on. You know,
right,
and
right.
we were latchkey kids, so we just let ourselves in. We did our homework, we got a snack, and then we went outside and played. And we didn't come
Yeah,
home until the sun went down.
I
So
didn't have streetlights.
oh shit. Yeah, at my grandparents' farm, they didn't have streetlights either. And the craziest thing when you don't have streetlights is it's so dark at
It's
night.
wonderful
But
stargazing,
it's
isn't it?
beautiful because you
It's
can see the
gorgeous.
stars, you know?
Yeah.
You can see the sky. And like in the city, you can't see the sky. You can't
Mm-mm.
see the stars,
You
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 know?
don't see near as many stars because the ambient light makes it harder to see the really faint ones.
Right. So I
Yeah.
was in a what was a short film, a mini series. Oh God, what is it called? It was about a not a concentration camp. It was about a Confederate camp.
Oh,
Adamsville? No,
Andersonville.
Andersonville. Thank you. I was actually in that movie.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
Yes. So they were calling for extras. Me and my friend went just because we got paid.
Mhm.
It was overnight.
Oh, nice.
Everybody that they built, they marched us out into this field, and it was a pretty long march. And then they had this whole thing set up, the whole set. But as they were marching us to this field, I remember there were no lights, and I was looking up at the sky, and it was so beautiful. And I was like, this has got to be the life. I would love to live like this, just like right here. And then we got to the set, and I was like, So, and we built like little campfires all
Mhm.
around, and people were just, passing um, flasks of alcohol, just playing around, keeping warm. I had to go to the bathroom, so I walked all the way through camp, got to the bathroom, came back, and they were shooting a scene. So they're like,
Mhm.
"You stop." And so at that point, I was either a slave or a Union soldier. Either one, they didn't care. I was just black, so I had to be one or the other. That was the thing I remember. And I don't even know if the scene got in. I didn't watch it, so well. But that's
My my
my brush with Hollywood fame. Yeah.
my stepmother has a friend, and somehow they've gotten onto some sort of list for being extras, and extras are really common apparently in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And being picked up as an extra for things that are filmed there pays enough for them to get down there, go out to eat, have a really nice dinner, and go home. And they're both
Nice.
retired, so they
Oh,
like
okay.
are like extras in all these shows and everything now.
Right. Well, I would do it. I don't know if I would drive to sets and stuff, but yeah, I would definitely do something like that.
Well, it's
Um,
it's like 2.5 hours to Pittsburgh from where they live.
Okay. Yeah. I
So
so
yeah,
so 2.5 hours outside of Atlanta is like nowheresville,
right,
like
right,
deep redville.
yeah,
But like, honestly, 2.5 hours in Atlanta is just trying to get to the other side of Atlanta, because
hmm,
fucking Atlanta traffic is insane. Like,
right.
when rush hour starts on a Friday at 3 o'clock, maybe at 2 o'clock, if you're downtown and you're trying to get out of downtown, you're fucked. You're just not going to get out of downtown for like 3 or 4 hours, and that is one of the reasons I don't drive on the highway anymore. I don't live downtown, so I don't go downtown anymore. My sisters live downtown, and I don't go to see them, and they don't come to see me, and that's fine. I live 10 minutes from downtown, but it's a completely different vibe.
It's
I
so
feel
funny. I
Why?
live I live 1 mile from a 4-lane highway.
Really? Okay.
Really.
So I live 1 mile from a 6-lane highway, a 285 that circles Atlanta. And then like right
I'm
down
on
the
a
street
dirt
is
road.
75. Oh. Oh.
I'm on a dirt road that connects
Oh.
directly to a 4-lane highway.
Oh, okay. Now that makes so yeah, okay. So you're just like right, okay. You're yeah, okay.
I
Okay.
yeah, I have 12 acres here.
Wow.
And
Wow. To have that would be amazing.
well, it was that or give away the horses. And I'm trying to keep the horses because neither of them are broke. And
Right.
a horse that you can't ride isn't worth much unless you can breed it. One of them's a gelding, so he's not breedable. And the other one's a mare who wouldn't raise her young, so she's not really breedable either. So they're pretty much walking dog food.
Okay.
And in this country, we outlawed killing horses.
Right.
So what happens instead is they are bought at auction, and then they are given no food or water and either driven to Mexico or Canada for slaughter. And it's almost equal distance either way for them. But that means they go about a day and a half without anything, miserable in a stock trailer, and then killed. And I've had
Ah,
fires since he was a yearling.
yeah.
So he was a baby horse when I got him, pretty much.
Right. Right.
And I've had him his whole life. And I got the mare
Mhm.
2 years later. And so I don't want to risk putting them in that kind of an end.
I can understand that 100%. Yeah.
But my husband kept promising we would break them, and we never broke them. And
Um, well, that's rough. To be put in a position where you may have to give up an animal that you've raised your whole life,
well,
who's
the worst thing is
part of
making
your
sure
family.
where you give them up, they're safe. That's
Right.
what bothers me. I'm
Yes.
worried about the
Yeah.
Black Beauty situation.
Right. Yeah.
You know, if you
Safety
don't.
is always key. I mean, giving up your pet, your animal who is part of your family is
Mhm.
the hardest thing to do, when you need to do it.
Right.
Um, and you're right. Safety is the first thing. You know,
Yeah.
it's
I had
definitely
hoped
paramount.
that I had hoped that downsizing and paying off what I had so I didn't have any payments would be affordable, but disability goes shorter and shorter every
Yeah.
year.
Yeah,
And
it's disability is a joke in the United States, like, they really don't want us to, and since we can only work a certain amount of hours, it's not like, it really is a joke in the United States. They think they're doing us a favor when they're doing us a disservice.
right.
They make it so that we can't work if we want to, and if we wanna work, we can't work because we're disabled. So they give us, like, a little bit of money just to be like, "Here," you know?
Well, the Heritage Foundation published a position paper. Did I already type that into here? I couldn't remember if that's
No,
why I asked to come in or not. But the
no.
Heritage Foundation posted a position paper. Um, this was back probably before Obama was elected, as a
Right,
guess. And when they published it, they pretty much said that the best thing they could do, because they point out that disability was not part of the original arrangement. Originally,
right,
Social Security was only for retirement. They said,
right,
no, we got talked into adding this and we put it on a sliding scale. If you'd paid enough in, you got that instead. And
right.
they said, to save Social Security, we should, because too many people take advantage and pretend to be disabled, we should make it less attractive and we should set it at exactly 100% of poverty level and allow no other assistance from the federal
They
government.
said this beforehand, or it's already been enacted? This is how it
This is a position paper.
so are you saying this is how it happened, or,
No,
like, this is
this
how
this
they
is
want it?
something they wrote suggesting it should go this way. They
Okay.
have not changed disability yet.
Yet
Um,
is the key word.
then there was a proposal at the end of last year. Now this has been not done. There
Right,
was a proposal to cut 1/3 of people who are on the short disability, the
right,
means
short-term
only.
disability.
No,
Right.
the means tested one where you only get like 900 a month or
Oh,
whatever it is
right,
now.
right,
They were
yeah.
going to cut it by a third if you were living in a house with other income and couldn't
Yes.
prove you were renting from that person.
Right, right,
And
yeah.
they were going to cut. And the thing is, this is the poorest payments we offer anybody. And they said, $980 a month or whatever the heck it is too much money for these people.
Right, you
It
know?
should be, much less than that. So we should cut it back another
Neuro
300
D,
bucks.
what's
And it,
up, Neuro D? How you doing? The whole disability thing is a joke. The fact that they keep on, the fact that you have to go back in and to prove that you're disabled is
Mhm.
crazy anyway. Like,
Until you're
you,
55.
yeah, and so I have not had to go back and prove myself. I am on the disability level where they won't have me come back and prove myself, I guess.
Well, not at all, because I mean, I was
Not at
given
all. Never.
every 3 years, I was sent this little piece of paper where I had to re-release my medical records and sign a thing saying that my condition hadn't changed.
So I've been
Um,
on disability. I started in 2012 and I was on disability until 2015 and I didn't have
okay.
anything. And then I got back on disability in 2017 and I've been on disability. Wait, 2018 and I've been on disability since then
And you
and
haven't
haven't
gotten
had
anything.
no.
I got my last one after I moved here.
Okay.
And it's supposed to stop right now. It stops according to statute at 55.
Oh,
But
okay.
along with the cut idea,
Right.
they keep going back to making people recertify a lot more frequently.
Yeah, that makes sense. They don't want to give people,
And
disability.
they
The,
they
the
they've one of the things they like to do on the recertifications is they like you to not do it fast enough because
what do you
then they
mean?
can cancel your benefits
Oh, right, right.
and
Yeah.
leave you stuck.
Yeah. So this is, with in order to get disability, you have to prove that, uh, it is your this is how you are on your worst day. And this is what I tell anybody trying to get disability when they have to go in to talk to the psychiatrist or anything like that. You know, tell act like you would on your worst day, so they know exactly what you feel and exactly how you would see it. Neuro D, I've got a question for you, and if you don't want to answer this, that is quite all right. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot. Uh,
So we can both know.
yeah, so we can all know in the chat, all 19 of us. Neuro D, what are your pronouns? We are actively waiting and would love to know. My guess is that it's they them, but I am not 100 on that. You're oh, that's Lisa. I was
No,
like,
that's me. I'm like, in
yeah.
case anyone was curious, I am still a she, her.
My pronouns are, let's see, she, they, although I use the they more. They, she is how it should be. But, people do say she, and that is fine. I have no problem with that. I have a feeling I remember that Neuro D says doesn't care as long as it's not it. Okay. I,
That's
I
good.
know I know a lot of people who use it, so that is
Really?
actually shocking. Yeah, yeah, I know quite a few people who use the pronoun it. And while I never would, like, I don't know, hey it, come here, that just doesn't sound right to me. But no skin off my back.
I was
Probably
cousin it for Halloween.
so.
The when I got disability, um,
Right,
I I was lucky. I had a really good friend, and she told me, she said, "Okay, people don't realize when they apply for disability that they have to be unable to work any
right,
work. They
right.
assume I can't do my job anymore. I've got this diagnosis that interferes with my job, so I'm going to apply and assume the fact that I have a doctor's diagnosis and this job, I will." No, it doesn't work that way.
It
You
does not work
can't
that way
do
at all.
any gainful employment. Enough of it to keep yourself supported is the actual thing.
So the thing about disability that people don't know, first of all, nobody gets disability because they don't want to work, because there is not enough money in disability to keep you afloat.
Not
Uh,
only that,
but
but it socially,
right,
I mean, it totally destroys everything else too. Because the once you're an adult, the biggest place you make friends and meet new people is work.
yeah, yeah. So,
It's
yeah, like where do you make friends? The whole process of disability is kind of fucked too. You
mhm,
can't work for the amount of time that it takes for them to approve or deny you. So, like for
and
the 2 years that it took to expedite my application, and they
mhm,
expedited it because I wasn't off of disability for more than 5 years.
mhm,
So for the 2 years it took them to expedite my application, I could not work.
right,
Now, of course, on the backside, I did get a hefty chunk. I got a
right.
$25,000 payday.
Oh, nice.
But that 2 years we were struggling like hardcore.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
and that's what happens. I don't know how
What
people
people
on it.
don't realize is even if you are qualified the day you leave work, we have a 6-month mandatory gap where they can't pay you a dime. There are
Really,
6 months of disability where you're not eligible for the first 6 months for any payments.
I didn't know that. Why is
Yeah.
that?
I guess because they're hoping you get better, or because they want to make sure
Yeah,
people don't decide I'm not going to work anymore and I'll start disability tomorrow. I don't know what the reasoning was. And then of course there's the 2-year wait once you get disability till you can get Medicare. So
oh,
if you're uninsured like I was when I was diagnosed,
right,
you have to get all of the doctor visits to get diagnosis to get disability. And then on top of that, you have to keep maintaining those doctor's appointments because if you quit treatment, you're showing you don't need treatment. So you can't do
right.
that either. And you don't have health insurance.
The whole thing is a racket because it feeds into it. It's a
Hmm.
loop. It's a racket loop because yeah, that's all it is. I have health insurance through
Hmm.
Egg, if egg was not around, I would not have insurance. And even when I was working, my insurance was not good. Egg's insurance is good, and even though Egg's insurance is good, we're paying like $300 $400 a month for not a month, every paycheck.
Hmm.
Every paycheck, so 2 weeks. Insurance is a racket. Now we have good insurance, but my copays have gone up to $60 every doctor visit.
Hmm.
And I see doctors a lot. So $60 each drop, that's too much money.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Someone was telling me I really should start getting counseling. And I'm like, I am not sure, but I think my counseling is $50 a visit.
yeah, yeah.
And even if I did once a month, that's almost not well, pretty much isn't affordable. But if I were to do like two or three or four, every week, every other week, I'd be really,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I do go see a therapist. I have a therapist and a psychiatrist just by necessity. I have to
right,
have one or else I will be hospitalized.
right.
And the scariest thing for a Black trans person is to be hospitalized. I do go see I see my therapist once a month, and it's
Hmm.
$30. And so I
Hmm.
can handle that. When I was sick, like in an episode, I had to
Right.
see my psychiatrist like twice a week. And at $150 a clip, I was
That's
paying
very,
300 a week, but that was when I was
yes.
working. So I was paying 300 a week, but I was in
Right,
crisis, like
right.
hardcore crisis. So I needed to pay that. When it finally got out of crisis, I was paying 150 a month, but then I decided to change psychiatrists, and now I'm paying 30 a month. And she's great. My psychiatrist is great. My therapist is great. I don't want to have to pay for them. I hate paying for the medication. The good thing about paying for the medication, though, is I meet my out-of-pocket maximum so much quicker. So when it restarts in January, by July, I'm done, and
I,
everything else is free.
I've had something that really I'm suspicious about. I need to find somebody who's good at investigating, I guess. I applied and was denied Medicaid. Medicaid. I was not given a Medicaid spend down after I was hospitalized with my second kidney failure. They denied me for not being able to print out enough of my bank records to make them happy quickly enough.
Oh,
And this last month, I was sent 3 months of bills for spend down. Um, and I don't know if you know what spend down is.
I don't know.
Okay, spend down is the difference between your current income and 100% poverty level.
Okay.
For me, it's $300.
Oh,
And I've been sent bills, and this has always been an option. You can pay the difference between your income and poverty level to the state Medicaid system and have Medicaid plus your Medicare and have
okay.
100% coverage.
Oh, okay.
Or on a month when you end up hospitalized, you can pay your spend down for that month and they'll cover everything else. So instead of having a $16,000 hospital visit, you can have a $377 hospital visit.
Well, that's not bad.
That isn't. But the fact they keep sending me the bill every month, I am really suspicious that they are focusing on all of the people like me and hoping that they will assume they have to pay that
Right,
so they get
right,
more income for the state. I swear to
right,
God,
right.
it's hitting me that way because like I said, they denied me, said, "Oh, you didn't give us enough bank stuff." I've never given them any bank stuff, and all of a sudden this month they're sending me invoices, and I have an invoice for January, February, and March.
Yeah,
It's like, I think you guys are trying to get $300+ a month out of me to help cover your Medicaid system.
yeah, that I so even though I'm on disability, I have never used Medicare, and the reason why I haven't, and I guess I'm supposed to, but I never have, is because Eggs insurance is so much better.
Did you at
Um,
least get Part B? Or is it Part
yes,
A? Because one of
I
them
got
you had to accept, or you can't get any other part of Medicare later. But I can't remember which one it is.
so I have Part B, Part A, and Part C.
Okay. Oh, you have Part C too? So you're double covered then.
Yeah, but I don't use
Nice. Oh,
I have never used it. I pretend that I don't know that I have it. So I
Oh,
can use eggs insurance because it's a lot better in terms of covering my gender affirming care.
well, the
Um,
thing is, you could actually use both.
I tried to, and I tried to with my bottom surgery, and for some reason they wouldn't let me.
Well, that's
Um,
probably because it was federal money on the
so
bottom surgery thing.
so no more. I didn't from that point. I didn't try anymore because like FFS, I knew they wouldn't accept it, and
Right,
like I
right,
had an orchiectomy, which is the surgical removal of your testicles, and
right.
they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that either. So I just no, I stuck with eggs stuff. If I do have any more surgeries, which I don't think I'm going to, it'll be on eggs insurance plan. Yeah. Um, because it's Blue Cross, and Blue Cross pretty much covers everything. I
Yep.
was in a lawsuit with Aetna, and I dropped out of it, but
Mm,
that lawsuit I was in, they just won. So Aetna has to cover gender affirming care surgeries. And
nice.
I was in it because they weren't covering mine.
Mm,
And so I was part of a class action lawsuit.
nice.
But I dropped out of it because I went to another insurance company and I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to deal with all this.
Actually, if you could still possibly be, if you were certified as part of the group, you still might be able to benefit.
Oh no, I don't
I'd
know if
look
it was
into
actually.
it.
Yeah, I might have to look into it. I don't have any of the information from the lawyers anymore.
Right,
They contacted me. I told them my story. They said, this is a great story. I understand why you are upset. I
right,
understand that you feel like they should have covered it. They should have covered it. And so
right.
it took years, 2 years,
Hmm.
but they did cover it. They lost and they have to cover it now.
Right.
But it's so strange because gender affirming care is being slammed throughout the United States. So I don't know how they could finally get Aetna to go ahead and pay for it now.
Well,
Tomorrow morning, I'm at the doctor with medical. It will be great because I passed the MAGA money straight to y'all without taking it. Yeah. Um, okay, y'all. So I don't know. It's kind of late,
yeah, I was
11:30.
kind of big
Yeah,
off here, to be honest. I'm like,
yeah,
it's after 10:30 here, and it's after 11:30 there.
yeah. I'm gonna have to wrap it up because
Mhm.
I've got shit to do tomorrow. But thank you all for coming on. Thank you, Lisa, for coming on because
Thank you.
you brought the crowd. And it was just me and Lisa in here
Awesome.
for the longest time. We were just sitting here talking.
Mhm.
And thank you for coming on, Lisa.
Oh, no
Thank you
problem.
all in the chat for being here.
Yes, thank you.
Joe, Neuro D, whoever else was in here, because I see that there are a lot of people in here. I appreciate it. I've started coming live a little bit more because I've got this cute little podcast machine and my
Mhm.
cute little podcast microphone.
I
So
don't have any of
yeah,
that.
yeah. So like next time I'm on, if you're on, come. I mean, if you're around, come and hang out. Yeah.
Say hi.
But
Okay.
everybody else, have a great night. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later.
Good
Peace and
night,
chicken feet,
everybody.
y'all. Oh, first of all, let's say what we normally say: no trash. That's no transphobia, no racism, no ableism, no sexism,
Sexism.
no homophobia, fuck Trump, and fuck ICE. All right. Good night,
Nice.
y'all.
Bye, all.